Howdy folks, Doc here with Last Best Tool. And Olight's got some new knives, and I'm going to show you a couple knives here, and they've got a big sale starting, actually starting right this minute. The two knives I'm going to show you are the Splint and the Nightclaw. And the Splint here, this has been around for a bit, but this new G10 orange handle is new. I like the kind of stone-washed, distressed look. Little bit of distress. This is actually a surprisingly pleasant knife to use. When I first saw the pictures of this thing, I thought it was going to be more in this size. It looked like one of the larger knives just by the image. However, it is a large looking knife in a small form factor. In fact, it's got a fairly narrow handle, and I've learned to like narrow handles. This is that Benchmade Claymore, and you can see that it's got a fairly narrow handle given the size. The other thing that's kind of nice is it's a more subdued orange versus, say, the blasting safety orange of the Benchmade Bug Out. This is a Bug Out Mini. In fact, that's a good comparison right there of size between the two. The blade is a little different on this. First of all is the steel. This uses an N690 steel, which is essentially like a 440 stainless with the addition of cobalt. And cobalt actually really adds some magical properties to knife steel. In fact, my very favorite steel is a laminated cobalt steel that Falcon even uses. See, you can see laminate COS, CO for cobalt. And this particular blade, like a lot of theirs, is just holds an edge tremendously. But anyway, the Splint here has what they call a clip point, and it doesn't look like a true clip point. This is a clip point here on the buck. This is the classic 117 or 119. Excuse me. You can see that. This particular knife blade design is called a clip point because it's actually as if you took a clipper, or you took a clip out of this and snipped a piece of the blade off. So instead of it kind of continuing on out, there's a piece missing, and it could be either sharpened or not. Most places the jurisdiction doesn't like them when they're sharpened, then it becomes a dirk or a dagger or something. But that's where that came from. When I look at this, it appears to be what I would call more of a buttress normal point, because if you take a look with a ruler, this actually lines up fairly straight right there. And then it's buttressed by this piece here, which is actually a little narrower, which is kind of an interesting feature here. And in fact, this has a little bump on it. You can see right there where my thumb is. So if you're opening it without using the flipper, which I'll get to in a sec, the actual hood reminded me a little bit of like the Spyderco, and they actually have what they call their Spidey hood, which can allow your thumb a little bit more purchase as you roll it around. But you can easily open it that way, and you're kind of digging into that little indentation, which is nice. Once open, excellent fit in the hand, essentially finger choil right there, with a bit of a guard that pops down. It's got excellent jimping here on that slight rise on that buttressing area. You can actually get a full 4 fingers if you have a size large hand, so it does fit fairly well. You can see similar on the Benchmade Mini Bug Out. Now another thing is the flip. It's got an excellent ball detent, super smooth. This is a Kershaw 022 or 0022, and you can see that the design of a flipper should basically store just enough energy on the pressure of the deployment lever that when the detent releases, there's enough momentum to carry the blade open. Now I've seen some flippers where it might not pop out quite as far. This one, perfect. Very nice, and that's right out of the box. I haven't started to mess around with kind of dialing it in, but silky smooth. Even a slow deployment is plenty good to launch the blade. If you look at this blade up close, it's a flat grind. You know, this is a hollow grind here. Flat grinds are pretty common. It's fairly easy to sharpen. This particular steel holds an edge fairly well. The N690. It's very similar to 440. So Buck uses 420. They've had good success. A lot of it has to do with the heat treating. It uses a liner lock. It's got 2 steel liners, skeletonized, which means there's holes in there. It's got 2 standoffs on the back. That gives the handle rigidity. And then it's a pass-through design, which gets that pocket lint and whatever. When you're cleaning it out, it's much easier. And I'm a big fan of the pass-through designs now. They just make life so much easier, you know, to just empty things out versus something, you know, here's the Olight Parrot, this particular one, again, pass through. But here, if it doesn't, then it starts to fill up with all kinds of gunk in there, and then you have to kind of scrub it out. But anyway, excellent design. I really like it. I've been carrying it since they sent it to me, and seems great. Came out of the box razor sharp. It actually has a nice thin profile, but plenty strong for an EDC knife. I like the orange. It's less threatening. You know, obviously, you know, somebody says, hey, can you open this envelope and whip this out? Sure. You know, versus something like this. And then this particular one, I had my finger on the side of it. This particular one, you know, it's not quite as bright. But anyway, the other one is the Nightclaw. Now, this is an unusual knife. It's a circle. You have to push this button to deploy it and pop it open. That just totally frees this little, this little claw here to move around. When I first saw this, it reminded me of the Spyderco Harpy. The Harpy is a really nasty looking knife. In fact, so much so that Hollywood used it in the movie, what was it, Hannibal, the sequel to Silence of the Lambs, where Hannibal actually carries one and uses it on people. But anyway, this is an unusual little EDC knife. What you use it for is up to you. But again, as I go back and always say, I like that the companies, including Olight, are exploring different knife directions. You can see the Nightclaw up close. Uses D2 steel, fairly solid choice. Thick blade. It does have an unusual feel in the hand. I mean, I can see several different ways to hold it, but why I'm holding it that way, I'm not sure. It does come with a piece of paracord and a bead here. Olight also sent me, I wonder if they're also selling these separately. This is a titanium Olight bead on a piece of paracord. And then the Splint also came with one of the Olight kind of challenge coins, talking about the Splint in the box. But anyway, I guess, I don't know if it's a limited edition. I don't know how long the run will be, but I like this little knife. It does have a, you know, a sharp point. I'm kind of a drop point fan. Sharp points like this, whether it was a clip point or not, have a little bit different use than dropping, but it does have a full belly. They also, if you look at the alignment of it, it's kind of a leaning out just a little bit compared to the traditional straight-on handle, which what that does is it moves the alignment of the, if I look at the axis here of how you hold it, the alignment of the point is further up, which is a little bit unusual. It's almost like the upsweep in this Vulcaneven Volcano in some ways, in terms of not the blade shape, but the blade position. And what that does is it presents the belly of the blade right here as the main focal point during like a thrust or something, or if you're applying pressure straight forward. Whereas others, the alignment of that point is designed to be with the axis of the handle, kind of as you can sort of see here too. running a line straight out. The point on this one goes up a little bit, but anyway, so it does have a bit of a unique shape. Not good or bad, just that's the presentation of the blade. And that actually, to me, makes this belly more functional, which is what I like about drop points versus clip points. And if you also notice the rotation, nice and smooth and round, less compared to this traditional one. There's more of a fuller belly than a traditional straight edge that then pops up at the very end. So you can see you've got a workable belly of the knife, but you can also see that the presentation is in this area. Whoops, in this area right up here versus the tip. So kind of an interesting usable compromise between a couple of the different blade shapes. I like that. It's different. It's different in the design up here, and it's different in the way the blade is presented out of the handle. The rest of it is just a good solid creation of a knife. Anyway, so those are out. There's a link below to the sale, and of course the last best is the discount code for other things that aren't already on sale, or however it works. But anyway, the Olight Splint and the Olight Nightclaw. Two interesting new offerings. And with that, Doc out.